Record.
Yeah, that. Hari Om, 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 Hari Om. Today we are going to talk about this book, The Mother India. What is the meaning behind the Mother India? Why the Mother India is needed to rectify the present environmental conditions and all the ecological imbalance taking place on this planet Earth, because this is the only science we have from India which will rectify all these ecological imbalances, environmental damages, all these torrential rains, unlimited fires, many earthquakes are getting, the glaciers are melting. All these things can be rectified by the science of the ancient science of India. So that we will talk. But first we have to understand what is the evolution. And that is what we are going to talk. Before we start the evolution, what that means, evolution to a lot of people in today's time do not understand the meaning of evolution. They are completely confused by many confused writers, and these confused writers have done a serious harm to the human minds. For example, there are experts, they are called like Darwin, and these modern scientists and followers of Darwin constantly push his ideology, which is deadly against the evolutionary process, which does not mean nothing. So that we'll talk. Let's do the chanting first, and then we'll talk about evolution. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Name. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Om. Now first we must understand there is a consciousness of the soul. Soul has the consciousness, and the consciousness is what upgrades or degrades. For example, that when it says evolve, that means it's learning more. When we say devolve, that means going down the hill. That's the meaning of the consciousness. Now, there are three things on this system. Number one is the matter, which is dead, inert. The second is your soul, which has consciousness. And the third item what we see is called God Almighty, who is the controller of this universe. His name is Shri Krishna Bhagwan. He came 5,200 years ago on our Mother Earth, and he guided the humanity through the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The first Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the battlefield of Kurukshetra to Arjun Bhai, describing the meaning why his presence is there. He says, wherever their irreligious practices take place, I advent myself millennium after millennium to annihilate the miscreants and to re-establish the principles of religion and to deliver the pious. Naturally, in today's time, you are already seeing how many miscreants are increasing, and you can see all around. You will find out this is not the way to live a peaceful life. This is making everybody very unhappy, interfering in their work ethics, interfering in their lifestyle, and there is no happiness, there is no tranquility, there is no cooperation, there is no brotherly love. They are all just looking at each other with their hateful eyes, and that's all they are doing. Very envious, very hateful, and ready to kill anybody at any given time without any iota of consciousness. They don't have compassion. The word compassion is gone from this planet Earth in most of the cases. This unfortunate situation is taking place in the absence of knowledge and wisdom. When we lose the knowledge and wisdom, people become like animals, behave worse than even animals. And that is what is taking place. Rudeness is there, and arrogance is there, hate is there, violence is there, anger is there, greed is too much, lustful animals, and they are leading a life of very impetuous, filled with desires. And the condition becomes so bad, they fall victim to these circumstances, and then they try to create more trouble to others for fulfilling their desires. These are very unfortunate things, and we have to curtail these things for the benefit of all the humans so that they can coexist, can live in peace, in harmony, happiness, and eventually a life of bliss with eternal values, go back to spiritual kingdom. Now, when we talk about evolution of consciousness, do you think we don't have that consciousness among the animals? Of course we do have consciousness among the animals. There are certain religious groups over here in this planet Earth which have just recently emerged out in the last 2,000-3,000 years. They play games with the humans. They are saying animals don't have soul. They are soulless. That itself triggers their unhappiness. It leads them to more wars and more problems, because when you take away the rights of life for other living beings, sentient beings, then you are also going into miseries. One time Bernard Shaw spoke that these dumb animals know what food they must subsist upon. But here, with all the expanded visions of humans, they yet have not able to determine what food must they subsist upon. They have not realized what is the human diet yet. So all these things are happening. So we must understand this very clearly, that with all the expanded visions, humans have not realized, but the animals know what food. For example, a goat will never like to eat the dead bodies of the animals, because her body structure And so is the cow. Cow will not eat the dead bodies of the animals because of the bodily structure. So is the horse. This is called herbivore. And the similarities of herbivore is human also is a herbivore animal. And the carnivorous animals are different. And you can give a carnivore animal, for example, grass, and tell him to eat grass. He's not going to eat any grass. Would you be able to give grass to a carnivore wolf or fox? No, you cannot make wolf to eat the grass. But in the same condition, you are not able to feed the goat with dead bodies of the animals. Even if you cut the dead bodies of the animals and try to feed the goat, you will not be able to do so. That is the position. And now we come to the evolution. What is the evolution? The consciousness. Some have lesser consciousness. Some have higher consciousness. It is not the body which evolves to the next life, because matter is dead. For example, we go back to these people who wrote, like Darwin, he was trying to find out the answers on the topic of evolution. And so he went to look for evolution in the life of the animals. His directions were right, that evolution is taking place. But he didn't realize how the evolution can be possible from matter, from dead bodies to human bodies. For example, he said monkeys turn out to be human. But monkeys don't turn out to be human, because if monkeys turn out to be humans, why do we have so many millions of monkeys still living? They must have been all transformed to animals, to human life. But they are not transformed. They are still not transformed to human life. They're still as it is. The question is that who left that body? Now, Bhagavad Gita very well explained that we are not this body. We are the soul within this body. Now, for the soul there is no birth and no death. Soul cannot be withered, soul cannot be cut into pieces, soul cannot be burned. Soul is everlasting. Now that is the driver of the car. You understand that driver of the car is in everybody. Now that particular driver is leaving this material body upon this inevitable death. Now the consciousness, to evolve the consciousness, it is the soul which is evolving the consciousness, and that evolution is the reason for us to end up into the spiritual planetary system. And that is what the guidance is, that we must evolve while we are busy working, fulfilling the duties towards our families and children, giving them love and hug and respect. That our aim should not be deviated from the main understanding that we have to face one day inevitable death. And this inevitable death, we must be prepared where we are heading for, because we are not this body, and since we have to leave behind these bodies, some put these dead bodies into the coffins, thinking one day the Messiah would come and take them back to heaven. But you think, is it possible? The person who has gone into the body becomes ashes to ashes anyway. But Hindus, the ancient science recommend that our body must be burned, because we are made of 5 elements: water, fire, air, ether and earth. And those elements merge back into the nature. Now if you take a dead body and it has a lot of infectious diseases and all this thing, and you put it under the 6 feet ground, what happens, that body actually is having those infectious diseases passing through the water line, and it reaches to you back again and cause more diseases. So it is best advice for all humans to cremate, to burn their dead bodies, so that all those infectious diseases like cancer virus and many, like now you know Ebola, what is that, Ebola you say?
Ebola.
Ebola. Now Ebola, for example, is getting very serious. Now do you think it would be a good idea, to put those people who are dying due to Ebola disease into 6 feet ground and get all that virus come to you because you believe in some kind of religious order that the Messiah would come and take your dead body, which will not be there anyway? Or should they be burned so that the Ebola virus or infectious diseases are all cleaned out in the burning fire? The fire, what we are saying, that we represent fire. Hindus represent fire as the representative of the Almighty God. That means the fire burns all evil things. And that's why we worship around the fire. Now, looking to evolution, now for example, a cow life is around 20 years. And human life is about 100 years. Now let's look into what is taking place and how humans are getting disturbed by the ecological imbalance taking place. And ecology is directly proportional to the environmental damages. Humans must realize this point. Now when we look into many scientists today, we will find out many scientists would say to you, and billions of dollars for expenses paid by the state, United States of America and different countries to find out why these environmental damages are taking place. You will be surprised. They would come up with the answer, oh, look at the ground is getting kind of, they will take some ground sample and tell, oh, this ground, oh, it's coming. What is coming? Environmental damages. Or droughts is coming. All kinds of problems are coming. Even a child can tell that by looking at the ground. Even the farmer's son can tell, Daddy, look at the ground is all dried up. It looks like the drought is there. Well, for this reason that we pay billions of dollars to these scientists. Okay, meteorologist, they would say, oh, rain would be there. You look on the sky on the other side a little bit far away, you can tell that there are clouds coming. But for these reasons, we cannot find the true answers. Our answers are different. Why these things are happening, that is the topic. Because it lies in the evolutionary process of the consciousness. And when we deceive that, the humans deceiving that and coming out of their own religious connotations and different ideas, they do not want to give room to humans to realize the facts and truth. They will keep on shifting the issues and tell something very different. That is what is happening. Because they want to keep alive their irreligious sectarian orders, and they continue to murder in mass butchering of these animals who by the time process of natural law comes to the life of the evolutionary process, and that is what they do. The nature has its own timing. Nature goes through a process. And for example, why do we have to kill a holy mother cow? Can you tell why do we have to kill a holy mother cow? The poor, holy, helpless, humble cow gives us so much milk. Every infant on this planet Earth have to subside on the milk, one diet alone. And that is milk. Naturally, the mother, human mother, is made out of flesh, bone, and blood. So is holy cow is made of flesh, bone and blood. So the nature law still permits everyone to drink the milk. You're not cutting the head of the mother or head of the cows to drink the milk. Do you? Well, there are vegans who have started a new organization deceiving the followers that, oh, we don't eat eggs and we don't drink milk coming out of the flesh and blood. You ask them, did you live on the apple juice? Did you have somebody stick apple in your mouth when you were a baby infant? Of course, you could not survive. But if you were able to survive, what was that thing? That was milk. But where that milk came from? From the flesh, blood, and bone of the mother. Well, you don't kill your mother. That is the point we have to understand. We do not kill our mother to extract the milk. And that nature law have to be understood that regardless whether color, race, creed, caste, origin, speech, affiliation, they all have milk, one diet for all infants, and one diet and one diet alone until the infant become boy, until the boyhood. Now, for example, the nature law tells you every moment of our days that when the child is born, regardless who that person may be, their mother could be coming from African countries, from European countries, white, black, yellow, regardless what you believe, what your beliefs are, what your religious affiliations are, your color, your race, it does not make any difference. By nature law, the mother breast filled up with milk. It is the same applicable to even the cats and the mother dog, or mother goat, or mother horse, or mother holy cows. When they have the children, puppies come, they also drink mama's milk. When kittens come, they also drink mama's milk. This is a nature law. And you all are defying the natural law. And that is the problem with you. That is why the ecological, environmental damages are taking place, because you do not have respect. You call them soulless creature. Even the animals take care of their puppies and their offsprings, just like any humans. And look at puppies, look at kittens. They are playing and they are happy, just like our children. How do you deny or refuse that they don't have a soul? Who told you this? Are you proving yourself that you are a soulless creature yourself? That you cannot see that compassion and feelings and love and respect for other lives? What you have done and damage to the entire world? Go back to the history and you will find out what you all have done with that kind of mindset. This is called demonic mind. There are two classes of human being. One is called Arya and one is called demon. Arya are the noble people who look into, they have godly qualities. They are truthful, merciful, austere, cleanliness, internal and external. Their mind is full of happiness. They're non-violent. You have heard about Mahatma Gandhi, non-violence, and that movement was the reason for the freedom of African countries from the clutches of those Christians were holding South Africa very tightly. So we must appreciate what Gandhi had done, Mahatma Gandhi had done. to save Africa. And Mandela must always put the picture in African countries that this was the great man who ever walked on this earth. Well, Mahatma Gandhi could have done some of the other problems. Yes, we understand that. But at the same time, he had done some of the great things too. And those great things is what we are talking about at this time. So non-violence is the reason that this world can survive. With the violent methods of these religious order to control the world resources will not go further. Now the question we were talking about in life of a cow is 20 years. And if you cut the head of the cow prematurely, first, why should you do it? God has given her right to live too. That's why she's assigned 20 years. Is that correct or not? So who has the right to kill the mother holy cow, who is more valuable asset than your diamonds in the treasury? You tell me yourself. In the absence of milk, Saddam Hussein spoke out, and this was printed in the American newspapers. Have you ever heard in the history of mankind that my children will die of malnutrition in the absence of milk? Now these are Muslim people. They don't believe in cow and holy cows. They are the one who grows up and kill the head of holy cow, slowly bleed them to death, and no tranquilizer is given to the poor, defenseless, holy, innocent cows. But yet, Saddam Hussein of Iraq had spoken these words, that have you ever heard in the history of mankind that my children will die of malnutrition in the absence of milk because the Allied forces have surrounded us? This speech of Saddam Hussein had appeared, and well, they had the elderly people, they had mother, the father, everybody were living and surviving. But he's talking about infants. He had all kinds of dead bodies of the animals, bread, everything. Why they had to die? The reason why, because the child only needs milk. They don't have teeth. They cannot swallow. They cannot chew the food. Do you understand this point? Well, that is what is happening. The humans lack ABC, and we are talking about simple questions and simple answers to save humanity. And that is what we are talking today. Now, the life of a cow, 20 years, so what happens to when you forcefully kill the cow? You take away the right. In other words, you destroy her house where she was residing. For the soul there is no birth, and she was residing in that soul, and her consciousness is much better than most of the humans, because humans are the murderers of the cows. Cow is not murdering you. Cow is giving you better than diamonds to survive. Diamonds are afterwards. You take the diamond, put it in your mouth, and find out what happens to you. You will all die. Is that right or not? All of you will die. This is how valuable is diamond. It's only value that your transaction, business point of view is okay after you grow up. But the real thing is that this question of survival. We are surviving on this planet Earth on the natural laws. Everything is valuable. Fresh oxygen is valuable. If we don't have oxygen, our lungs will collapse. Have you seen people who have asthma and serious problems with lungs? Then they have to have oxygen cylinders. So oxygen is so valuable. We don't inhale carbon dioxide. Do you understand this point? Now if somebody cover your face with some kind of cloth, what will happen? What will you be breathing? You will be breathing the same air what you exhale out. and soon your lungs will collapse and die soon, and even cause more infectious diseases. And that is what some of the religious orders are doing to the women. They cover their head from head to toes, and unfortunately those women have to live with that conditions, under these stressful conditions, the miams, and smoking the same exhaled air, carbon dioxide, day in and day out, and very soon they find themselves with tuberculosis and many infectious diseases which they pass it down to their children and their husbands. So this must be looked into. These are you're defying the natural law. That is what you're doing. So this is just one of the definition of you all defying the natural law. Now, we have heard many people make fun of great assets the naturalists have, worshipping the trees, worshipping the monkeys, worshipping holy cows, worshipping all the elements, worshipping sun, worshipping of all these meaning. When we have children growing, what that means is that the Brahmins are trying to train these children to respect these lives. Worshipping is it reaches to the Almighty God, who is the ultimate receiver of all these worshipping. He understands the devotees who are worshipping these things, they are good devotees. They mean they are protecting the assets of the Lord who has created for our benefit, for our existence, for our sustenance. For example, holy cow is life sustenance. So is the sun. If sun is not there, not a single life will stay on this planet Earth. So we had to respect the sun, and by worshipping, by respecting the natural law, we are also calming them down to live in harmony and understand that we will not become the rapist of Mother Earth, and nature will not have the fury on us. And that is what we are trying to train our children. We are trying to train them that by giving a yellow ribbon around the trees, that means we need more trees, more oxygen, more fruit trees and vegetables and all this. This is the respect we create among the minds of our children. It leads them to thinking that we live in harmony to the nature. This is what we are doing. So all these demonic people, they come and they force their way in to control and colonize this planet Earth, were meant to destroy these great advanced sciences of the ancients, which is coming down from ever time immemorial, and they will never change. Have you ever seen the direction of the sun changed? The sun light, did it become dark? No, it is the same. The natural law, you can try to say, okay, I can control the planet Earth. Did anyone able to control the planet Earth as to this date? Now, if the planet Earth was flat, do you think you could revolve around this universe at the 66,000 miles an hour? Of course you could not, because physical laws, physics laws will not allow you to even move a millionth of a fraction of a centimeter, because of the speed of these movements of the Earth right now is 66,000 miles per hour. And we are traveling about 585 million miles each year on this planet Earth. So if this planet Earth would be revolving and was not round, it would have disintegrated into dust within no time, if one could create. But there is no way one could create. There is no such thing that humans are out there to create. These are universal things which are coming, creations comes, and there is not one creation but many creations. And these are unlimited creations. Our last creation started over 166 trillion years ago. And it will have a dissolution in next 165 trillion years and 40 billion years. So that's called Mahakal, end of the era. All the evil people will just finish. They're all destroyed. So the facts of the matter is that creation and dissolutions are going perpetually ever since time immemorial, indefinitely. Now, coming to the point of evolution. So what happens when the cows are killed, animals are killed prematurely before time? What happens to the soul transmigration? See, you have to understand the body you discard, which is made of 5 elements, water, fire, air, ether, and earth, and you as the driver, which is sitting in the heart, leaves. The journey of the soul continues on. So there are souls which have lower consciousness, and then there are souls which are evolving to a higher consciousness by understanding, by simple questions and simple answers. We lead them to understand how to upgrade the consciousness. So when the animals, when they are killed prematurely, at that time, the soul has to leave. I was in the slaughterhouse in 1981 and took a movie in Katy, Texas. And they were killing pigs in thousands. And the pigs were afraid. They did not want to be killed. And these people who were butchers, they come over there and they stun them with automatic stun guns and make them unconscious. And I realized that how pigs were hiding behind other pigs and thought they would be spared. This is the nature of all human beings. When they are standing in line in World War II to go through slaughter, they face a similar kind of circumstances. So we must understand the cause and effect, what is taking place. Karmic law, and they are very intrinsic. Those laws are very intrinsic. That means every bit of consciousness, what you are doing, you cannot hide. You can go into a darkest room and try to hide your consciousness. You can bring as many witnesses you want on your misdeeds and nonsense activities and murderous activities, but yet your consciousness has registered your bad actions and they are registered in the ports of your mind. And that is 100% is taking place. If you don't believe it, ask your consciousness. Talk to your mind. You'll find out. Yes, you did it. Is that right? You did it. Well, how did you hide? And the Almighty God is residing next to your heart in the form of energy they call Paramatma. Paramatma and Atma. Atomic soul is infinitesimal, small, minute, the size that you cannot even see with the finest microscope. And the size of that atomic soul, as Bhagavad Gita explains very well, is 1/10,000 times the tip of the hair. That is the position of the atomic soul. Now the question is that, who is Paramatma? Paramatma is the energy of is a super soul, and the super soul is residing next to in your heart, and that super soul and you infinitesimal soul, both are the witnesses in your actions. There is no other two people. And if you tell the truth today and repent, then you may be relieved. But if you speak lies and tell your hide your misdeeds, your negative behavior, well, you are arrested. You are arrested by your own self-consciousness. Understand, your own self-consciousness, which is locked up just like a chip of a computer. Every bit of the information, people think, oh, they are very intelligent, they can make computers and they can put a chip and have all the gathering of information, but they will hide all their lies through, well, this is something very sorry people who cannot even understand this point, that the one who made the computer, who can take all the information and load it up and remember everything, your own consciousness will be all forgotten. No, it is not forgiven. It's not. Your wrong action lead you into hellish conditions of life, in destinies which are unwanted, wrong destinies. And such destinies, nobody would like to have it. You can well see around you on this planet Earth, they are walking right and left on your side, the mice, the rats, the cats, the dogs, the snakes, all sort of reptiles, all kinds of lives. Are they fake? They are crawling, they are eating, sleeping, mating, defending, doing every activity what humans do. What is better in you as a human? What do you call yourself as a better man? In what sense you think you are better than any animals? You have to prove it. Grow up. You have to show that you are the person who has compassion, feelings, love, respect, and no hate, no violence, no arrogance. Well, you tell me, what is the reason for all these turbulence, fires, unlimited wars, disturbance, and unemployment, troubles? You yourself can figure out by the time what I have spoken so far. It's all self-creation, human self-creation. It's nowhere else has come from, but humans are defying the natural laws and they are going against the natural laws. Now, let's come to the point about the life of a cow. 20 years later, cow, if she lived, then naturally the soul will pass to the next destination is in human life. The soul is the same. The consciousness is upgrading. For example, an infant cannot ride on the tricycle, but a small boy can ride on the tricycle. So that's the difference in consciousness. Then there is a boy grows up and he can ride on a bicycle, 2 wheels. That's his consciousness is upgraded. Now there is a boy grows to a man. He can ride a motorcycle. And he can drive an automobile. And then if he tries, he can also fly the airplanes. That is how the consciousness is evolving. This is in material formation. In the similar conditions, the consciousness of life in animals are lesser consciousness, but they are our brothers and sisters, the same thing. And that is what they go through, what they call a process of evolution, and upon the death of these animals, they transmigrate into various lives. You must read about Mr. John Adams, the second United States President, who wrote the letter to the third President of the United States of America on the reincarnation how some of these souls, out of jealousy with the Almighty God, are hurled, Hurled, hurled into the darkest region, and from there they evolve to different lives. And from animals they come to the life of man and cows. And if they behave as humans, they are restored back to the spiritual planets. Are you behaving, sir? Are you? If you are behaving, well, you are going back to a spiritual planetary system. Otherwise, if you are not behaving, God has designed many planetary systems, which most of these religious or irreligious orders, or others say that, have destroyed those books and burned them up. Because they hate astrological charts. They don't want to know if there is truly existing hellish planets. All these 9 planetary systems have been taken out by the modern astronomers from India's sciences. And if they look into Brahmalok and all these things, the distances they have been given for millions of years ago. The planet Earth did not start just 2,000 years ago. It had started over 166 trillion years ago. Now the question is that what are those hellish planets and where they are? Well, they are well located near our planet Earth, but they are very hot and they are burning. And there are punishments to many souls who are doing very mischievous, very filthy and dirty lifestyle. They are sent over there and they have no way of choosing a next life. But then there are souls who are given a chance to become what they wanted to become. Some people have the activities of a dog life, eating the dog food. Well, God is not unmerciful. He said, okay, so be his dog, so your body is well fitting to eat the dead bodies of the animals, because a human to eat the dead body is not well fitting. Just like a carpenter requires different kinds of tools. Carpenter will require maybe hacksaw, electric saw, maybe need a different kind of hammer at some time. So similarly, by using different tools, carpenter does not become tool. You understand that? He does not become a hacksaw or saw or electric saw or hammer. Carpenter is using, so is the soul. Soul, because he requires certain habits, certain desires. So to facilitate those desires, God provides different kinds of bodies also. For example, there are many vicious humans. They hate everybody. Their mouth is full of venom. Just like one time Chanakya, Sri Chanakya ji spoke, Vishnu Gupta ji, over 2,350 years ago. There is a poison in the fang of a serpent, in the mouth of a fly, and the sting of a scorpio. Similarly, the poison in a wicked man is well saturated. That is what is happening to many wicked people. Their poison is so much. Now, what do you think they're supposed to go? Where are supposed to go? You tell me yourself. Oh, they should be given a reward in the heaven. You tell me. Should they be given a reward in the house of a family where there is nothing but peace and happiness? Would you allow a barking dog to come to your house who is constantly barking?
No.
But the heavenly planets are peaceful, coexistence, tranquility, eternal peace, cooperation, harmony. How can you allow or give a chance to a barking dog or a vicious snake or vicious minds to enter in such kingdoms or godly kingdoms where there is nothing but peace. Don't you think his entry will disturb the entire maker of the heavenly planet? Of course. That's why Mr. John Adams, the United States second president, the one who was one of the Declaration of Independence signer, spoke and wrote to Mr. Thomas Jefferson that some souls are hurled out of enviousness into the darkest region, and he explained about the reincarnation. Why? Because they become the same way, barking dogs. So God does not want them over there. They're sent to the darkest regions. And then he gives them a chance to come back. Yes, he's merciful. Our merciful Father, because Lord Krishna he says that I am the Father, I am the Mother, I am the Grandsire, I am the syllable Om. Did God say that he is only the Father? No. And I am the Rig Ved, Samved and Yajur Ved. This is what Lord Krishna says. Now that means the Lord is the syllable Om. Om. Now that Om was changed to Amen by the Christians, and Amin was changed by Muslims. But it is derived from Om. Understand this point. And they lost the meaning, resonance. Now we look at this way, that this universe is well contained, is moving perfectly in unison without any kind of imperfections. And we do not want humans to remain imperfect. But when humans with imperfect minds try to do experiments, they blow the labs, which you are seeing every day, that the imperfect experiments from those irreligious orders, from the desertification fields, derived from those books, are constantly blowing this planet Earth into a total mockery of the human beings. So many wars. After the United Nations organization was formed, after 2 world wars, millions of people died, yet there is never shortage of wars. Every minute, for every region, they are ready to go and kill each other, just to control their desperate resources. And that is what they are doing. Now, if they come to the realization, then they can save their future. Otherwise, the nature fury is taking the biggest toll on this planet Earth. Very soon, very fast. So humans must come to the understanding that whatever their assets are, it's going to be wiped out if they don't stop their nonsense activity. Naturally, Lord Krishna has stated very well, whenever, wherever their religious practices take place, I advent myself to annihilate the miscreants, so miscreants are going to go. And to re-establish the principles of religion. Those good values, principles means no meat, no fish, no acts, no intoxication, no illicit activities, no womanizing, no gambling, and they are the rules of the human body, mind and soul. Indulgence into these kind of activities, polluting the minds, polluting the human body, are very dangerous for the consciousness. When a person is loaded with alcohol, he is not able to control his body. Even the United States of America laws are very explicit that driving drunk, you go to jail. So they are in harmony to the Hindus' laws. Because the forefathers of the United States of America, noble forefathers, had consulted the cosmic, universal, Vedic Hindu science or natural laws. And they were called deists in order to draft the Declaration of Independence, which became responsible for the freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of expression and freedom of mind. If they had not drafted this, naturally America would be today persecuting women, and humans would be persecuted by those inquisitors, as you all know very well. And this movement, prior to that revolution in Europe, started by Voltaire, Rousseau, what they call age of enlightenment and age of reason. And age of enlightenment and age of reason are also derived from the very Hindu science of reincarnation. Bernard Shaw and all these great people have worked very hard to bring the consciousness, and in this country, in these countries of Europe, and also in the United States of America, today they follow the laws of equality for all human beings. Well, there are a lot of people, they all claim this is my country or that country, but if you look back, the Europe was called pagan country. Pagans, they are the rightful owners. Pagans were nothing but Hindus. If you look into Romans, they offered food to the deities, statues. And Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly, if you offer me in love water, flower, leaf, and devotion, you will come back to me. So the Hindus offering water, flower, leaf to the image of the god, what they consider as the image of the god, or the picture of your father, for example, has to have a picture, is it? Don't you have cameras? Don't you make a picture and put it in your albums? So how can you insult that picture? Because of that picture, you are able to see through that this was your father, this is what he gave me the love, this was my mother, this is how beautiful my mother was, she treated me so beautiful, she raised me from very beginning, changed my diapers, took care of my food, and all this thing. Don't you remember all this thing? Huh? Your mother and father picture reminds you, and that's why you decorate, same way as the God picture. Go back, up the scale, climb up the ladder, and you'll find out thousands of years, millions of years. God Almighty is present, is called omnipresent. He is present in every place, in you, in every element, in every molecule. God is present. He is called omnipresent. He is everywhere. Now omniscient, He is the knower of your mind. You think you can fake Him? I already explained to you about atomic soul and also Paramatma, the super soul, how they know about your consciousness. So how do you say that omniscient present, who is the perfect maker of these universes, will not know? If you have a computer, you can design and do all kinds of chipping and all that kinds of intelligent work. You think God is that stupid? That your infinitesimal soul can create such valuable things? The God Almighty is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna Bhagavan has designed. You have to go back and read these books, advanced books, ancient books, which are perfectly harmonious, not imperfect. Not a single word or imperfection will be found in these books. That is my guarantee to you. Though they are fabricated books, have been created by the Western Indologists and Western writers during the British time when they were trying to Christianize India by twisting, confusing, adding very wrong interpretation in the original books of Vedas, and they fabricated these books, and that is those books what they consult today are those fabricated Vedic texts in the name of Hinduism. And that's what they push to their children in schools in America. So the children will never come to know the reality, the truth, and real self-realization on the basis of lies and deceitful activities, what they have added in these books. They are confused. These demons are confused these books. That you must understand. So in order for you to understand the true meaning of the Vedic text, you must consult the true Vedas, the real Vedas, original Vedas, which Sri Dayananda Saraswati, Swami Dayananda Saraswati brought back into the original form. And those books must be consulted. Then you must also consult the self-realized great Hindu masters who have seen the absolute truth, who will guide you into perfect order. Perfection is the answer. How can you expect you to be imperfect and God to be perfect? Now, can you give me one answer? Because God is perfect and you are perfect also. So from perfection comes perfections. From perfections never comes imperfections. But you are trying to prove, because these idiots out there are trying to control your minds, so they will tell you to be imperfect because you cannot become imperfect. No, you have the capabilities to become perfect if you take a control on your body, mind and soul. And that you need a guidance from the masters. Master is going to guide you that how you can make a perfect mind. If you truly want to go back to spiritual planetary system, if you are interested, go back to home, real home, after giving this material body, then you have to take the understanding of the Vedic Hindu science. Under the guidance and lotus feet, you must surrender to the great spiritual masters who have seen the truth. So he can guide you. Now, when I said perfect God and imperfect human beings as most irreligious practices are teaching, can it be possible that a God considered as an ocean, Atlantic Ocean? Let's take one example. That let's say God is an Atlantic Ocean. Compare that God. And then all those droplets coming out of the Atlantic Ocean, would it not have the same value what the ocean water has? So in the same scenario, those droplets of souls coming from supreme souls have the same quality. And that is what we are talking about, the same quality. Yeah, quantity may be different, it's not the same. You can have millions of droplets and you cannot fill the Atlantic Ocean. That's the position of the Almighty God's super soul. So now coming to the understanding that when holy cows are murdered, which is the last in line to come to the human form of life, the soul, prematurely, instead of 20 years of living, dies within 3 months, baby calves are killed, they are poisoned in those storage warehouses where they are locked up in 20 by 30 cages, and ammonia gases are passed to make their flesh tender. And then there are many religious heads, they love to eat baby cows. They call it veal papajan. And they suffer extremely in pain and sorrow. They cannot even stand up because of the estrogens and hormones, and they are passed to them. It's very painful when I'm talking about, that's why I'm feeling very emotional. I cannot even think of how humans can do such kind of bloodsheds, immoral behavior, killing ruthlessly. these sentient beings, our friends and brothers, and then eat them also on top. Like they like to have a cake and eat the cake too. That's the nature of these idiots. It's unfortunate, it's very painful, and that is what is happening, that you have shortened the life of that soul transmigrating to the human life 19 years shorter. Same way with other animals, because they are going through a natural law system and you are shortening the lives, and so the human population explosion is taking place. Now when we killed our two most benign friends, what Pythagoras spoke, they will suffer the consequences of the laws of karma. They will have catastrophic, they will have wars constantly. They will constantly have famine. They will have constantly population explosion and criminal and many violences. They will continue with these. And he spoke over 2,400 years ago, and yet people are not realizing these facts. Pythagoras went to India and studied at the University of Takshila, where the Pythagorean theorem comes from. He was a mathematics genius, but also very spiritualist. And he opened a school in Karnataka, Italy, to teach the Bhagavad Gita masses. So Plato has spoken that immoral behavior is the symptoms of a diseased soul. Mr. Plato, great man, he spoke such words of wisdom over 2,300 years ago. Yet not a single person is understanding these points, that you are all diseased. Basically, that's the immoral behavior of most of the human beings. I'm not talking about you all sitting over here. I'm saying that you are all morally inclined. That's why you are present over here and listening to me. But what I'm saying, most of the humans association in today's time have become extremely immoral. That is what I meant by that. And so now the question is that if you shorten the life of this life of the animals, the soul has to be forced into to take the birth in human bodies. Why there is so much population explosion taking place in India? You think after these animals got murdered by these butchers under the pretext of their religious orders, would love to be born in this planet Earth, this side of the planet, United States of America? They are afraid. So they are given a chance to be born in India. So most of these souls, when they are forced to take human birth, according to God's arrangement, many souls end up in India, because it's a merciful nation. Now a lot of people, these people will show on their churches to prove how ugly is India. Oh, this is a jungle, my friend. You hide the things and eat the dead bodies of the animals and even digest them. There in India, here the poor, helpless cow sits on the ground and think it is their right to live. Just like humans are walking everywhere. Do you find anybody in New York not walking? So many people. So you think about that this was a jungle, and slowly all the countryside is covered with humans, with so many houses, so many buildings, so many roads. So where are you going to send these poor, defenseless, helpless cows and other animals? Jungles are gone. So they have to live somewhere. It is because of the mercy of the Hindu country that these cows can live peacefully on the roads, and even these truck drivers try to protect the cows, not to kill them. That is compassion. That is pure compassion. Why don't you look with these eyes, with the eyes of the natural law, with the respect and love, rather looking how ugly it is, my religion is better than you. How can it be when you don't see the point? We understand we must keep the things clean. Cleanliness is very necessary. We must. It can be organized. But at the same time, we must look at the point of view that on the highway, cows are sitting, dogs are so many comfortable sitting on the road, thinking that no Hindu, no people of India would kill them. That is the confidence they have. What kind of confidence they have? All animals are afraid. They are saying, I am afraid. They are rushing back before they go into the line to be slaughtered by the slaughterman for the taste of your tongue. That is what they are afraid. They don't want to be killed. Well, you'll say, oh, we should have, these people are talking nonsense, fruits, trees have life too. Well, you have oranges, of course. Do we cut the trees? Or if you don't cut the trees, still the oranges are going to fall down, is that right? So we are not cutting the trees, we are not cutting the mama head, or we are not cutting the holy cow's head, we are still getting the fruits. That's the natural law. All these vegetables, all these fruits, all these mangoes are coming year by year. We are not cutting the trees. We are not taking the life away from them. That is the science. But you defy all these laws with all gimmicks and ideologies which are imperfectly devised in your mind. And with that demonic mind, you speak nonsense. And you talk rubbish and create ideologies which will always harm you and your future generation. Instead of joining hands with the Vedic Hindu science and teach them the science of yoga, the mind, body and soul, and teach your children how to take a control over your life, is the science that you have to give to your children. Otherwise, they are all going to be falling victim to these lust-hungry boys and girls, where the women, young girls, teenager girls will be coming home with big bellies. And that is what is happening, you know very well. So, get Hindu masters in this country, in thousands of them, put them in every corner of this continent, and let them guide your children for pulling you out from the miseries of Bhavsagar. The Bhavsagar is very deep. Once you leave this human body, you are going deeper and deeper into the ocean of miseries. So, what I am trying to give it to you today is to give you a strong boat, a very solid boat. Once you get on that boat, you will definitely cross this ocean of miseries and go to the other end upon giving up this human body to reach to the spiritual planetary system. That is what I am providing to you. Please take this in that stride, not my religion or your religion. So today I am going to talk about the Mother India. And what is the Mother India? You need Mother India for the benefit of all humanity and save yourself from degeneration. Now, what happens to the last thing I'm going to tell you, then I'll talk about Mother India. What happens when a human population explodes artificially, because those animals had no choice but to transmigrate into the human body prematurely. So that increases the population, and this planet Earth, we have to look at this A holy mother cow can eat just a plain grass growing freely in the pasture. Does she need air condition? Does she require heaters? Does she require all the amenities? House, big house? No, she does not require nothing. She eats in just a simple plain grass. And out of that plain grass, look at the mercy of our Gopal, Shri Krishna Bhagwan, who took care, tender love for the holy mother cows. Took in Gokul and respected holy mother cows with his cowherd boys. That is the real cowherd boy. That is a real cowboy. And that Shri Krishna Bhagwan is very clearly stating that cows must not be slaughtered. Holy cow, this life-sustaining mother is cow for children. The planet Earth is called Mother Earth, is also life-sustaining. Without that, you won't be standing over here. The natural laws, which is Mother Nature, without the sun, you won't be surviving either. Without oxygen, you cannot even live. Without fire, you won't be able to do things, many things. So God has provided all these elements, and we must respect all these lives. But humans, when they forcefully are taking birth because of demons' agenda, killing the animals, mass butchering, and then artificially there is a population explosion, they require a lot of resources to survive. And those resources are limited. And due to that, we have so much toll on our Mother Earth. And that's why the nature is reacting. If humans behave and live within means, still there are a lot of things can be done to rectify these problems. But they are so greedy that need billions of dollars to survive. Very huge houses, 8 bedrooms, 4,000 square feet houses, 5,000, 8,000 square feet, or more arrogance, more ego, and so I have 15,000 square feet houses. That's all they are looking for, competing for this short human life. And in the next 70, 80 years, they are all gone with the wind. They are in the histories, not even in history books. They're not even on. They're on the pictures on the walls. That's it, in their family's pictures, albums. All right, we will talk about some of the information about the Mother Earth, Mother India. The answer for the absolute world understanding, for recreating the family values, harmony, coexistence, and the ultimate peace. Dear souls, if the present world belongs to you permanently, then why can't you stay here forever in your present human dress? Now understand this point. Great President of the United States of America, Mr. George Washington, even could not take America with him. After giving up his material body. So what is the big fuss? Now the question is raised, why so many wars? The absolute answer can be described in 4 words: lack of higher understanding. This is it and nothing more. before we talk about higher topics in the field of consciousness and its pure form of understanding, we must give up the beliefs laid down due to the parental heritage, country of origin, or any kind of material encounters through the readings of any heroic phenomena. Remember, we are all conscious about our food. If you pay attention to your own pets, you will find that they are very conscious about their food as well too. Try not to give food to your pet for a day and he will do anything to get your attention. He will constantly remind you for not giving the food. If your pet was a stone, do you think your pet could get your attention for the food? Since there is a presence of a soul in your pet, she can divert your attention for not providing the food. This means that there is a presence of life in your pets, in your dog's physical body, who is watching you with his 2 eyes and listening you with his 2 ears. Therefore, the word "it" provided by the English dictionary in addressing your pet is absolutely misleading. For the souls desiring to achieve the highest degree of consciousness, you can address a stone as an "it," but the pet who runs, sleep, eat, and mate just like common humans, you cannot address him or her as "it." If mating, sleeping, eating, defending are the main criteria for the soul, then the soul must continue to stick to the material touch. Soul is different than the material body, and therefore it is an antimatter. It is called antimatter. And once it comes in contact with the matter, it accepts different material bodies. According to the desires and actions performed in one life, good actions performed in human form of life will give you a choice to fulfill the desires in a better human life or life in higher material planets. Those whose activities are of the lower kind in the human form of life are not given a choice to select or are allowed to fulfill their desires. They are strictly bound by the laws of nature, just like getting into a penitentiary. And then it is at the mercy of the government to give a parole depending upon his or her good behavior. Why to suffer for an indefinite period in the penitentiary of lower forms of material bodies than humans? Human sufferings are not lesser, but the human form of life is the perfect vehicle for the soul to go back to the destination, the final destination, to the real home. If the behavior of the human beings remain to be full of arrogance and puffed up, filled with ego like a balloon ready to burst out any time, dictatorial manner, they are all destined to suffer the consequences of cause and effect. First, we must look towards the source of the knowledge, speech, and other. Then we will be able to achieve the highest understanding for the highest consciousness. Otherwise, all other efforts will be futile. We must respect the source and give due regard. And once we have accepted the perfect source, that is the Vedic Hindu science, then the entire world race can be free from the clutches of the illusionary forces. The source. For example, a tree has leaves, many branches, flowers, fruits, and a stem, which carries the food supply from the roots to the entire branches for further distribution of food to the leaves, flowers, and fruits. The branches are getting food from the main stem, and the main stem is getting food from the roots. The roots are hidden under the ground, invisible. Since the roots are invisible, that does not mean that the one who claims to be the knower of in the field of agriculture could possibly say that the food supply for the entire tree lies on the topmost leaf of the tree. If someone speaks such misleading words, that simply means that person is not at all knowledgeable in the field of agriculture. Due to her ignorance, he is confusing many, and that is the position of many missionaries, pastors, ministers, and mullahs. They do not want to look within, but they are only looking into the outward shell. And from such ideas, they have concluded their miserable teachings, which are being forced in militant styles. Might is right type behavior among their enrollees for the missionary and Jesuits type of work. The Western Judo-Christian news media has been constantly insulting India's background, and thereby this propaganda has brainwashed the American public against Aryavart. Since the Vedic science can't be polluted, not like the American television shows of Jerry, Sally, Geraldo, Donahoe, who are determined to destroy the morals and fiber of the entire American people, the Western news media will continue to keep its course to destroy the image of India and will never bring the truth of the Mother India, the money-making profiteering scheme. American news media wants to keep the American public under its thumbs and has always kept away the truth about the greatest nation on planet Earth, which has been the real source for the human speech history. American news media has mostly twisted the image of Aryavart, presently known as India. If they tell the truth of India's science of self-realization, then their dirty mission to corrupt the American children's mind will be futile, and that is what they do not want. They continuously display Hitler on their controlled news media about his murders. The worst of all, the worst in the human dictionary, is to destroy the morals and the very basic fiber of the society, and this is what this controlled television media has determined to do so. They are worse than Nazism. India is the only country in the world which has given the fundamentals of science and speech to the human race, and yet the Judeo-Christian news media has portrayed the Mother India as a country of no civilization. Who are behind these shows? What is their purpose? To show prostitutes, homosexuals, and other most weird programs of the lowest categories. It is time that we need the Mother India, not the Holy Land's holy books. The fact is that the Mother India is the only country on our planet Earth which gave the civilization to the world in its infancy, and yet continue to give the knowledge for the highest consciousness to the souls desiring for the topmost PhD's level, understanding in the field of consciousness. One day in this life or other human life, you will definitely need its advanced science of self-realization. Once you got tired of satisfying all sorts of material sense gratifications in order to get out from the vicious and miserable cycles of birth and death, suffering for the soul, so you could be restored back into the spiritual kingdom. The human body is the vehicle for the soul to go back to the real home, and the key for that science is with the great seers and rishis of the Mother India through the Vedic texts. As one not knowing that a golden treasure lies buried beneath his feet may walk over it again and again, yet never find it. So all beings live every moment in the city of Brahmans, yet never find him because of the veil of illusion by which he is concealed. Samved. He is God hidden in all beings, the inmost soul who is in all. He watches the work of creation, lives in all things, watches all things. He is pure consciousness beyond the three conditions of nature. Krishna, Yajurved 6.11. He is omniscient from Vedas, the Mother India. This is what Mark Twain, great man, who warned the Americans not to associate children with Bible. He says it's not good. This is what he spoke. Cradle of the human race, birthplace of human speech, mother of history, grandmother of legend, great-grandmother of tradition, whose yesterdays bear date with the mouldering antiquities of the rest of the nations, the one sole country under the sun that is endowed with an imperishable interest for alien pride, for lettered and ignorant, wise and fool, rich and poor, born and free, the one land that all men desire to see, and having seen once but even a glimpse, would not give that glimpse for all the shores of all the rest of the globe combined even now. After lapse of a year, the delirium of those days in Bombay has not left me, and I hope it never will. This is stated by Mark Twain, for a wonderful statement. Mark Twain wrote about India and its people. There is only one India. It is the only country that has monopoly of grand and imposing specialties. When another country has remarkable thing, it cannot have its all to itself. Some other country has a duplicate, but India, that is different. Its marvels are its own. The patents cannot be infringed. Imitations are not possible. And think of the size of them, the majesty of them, the weird and outlandish characters of most of them. One thing is sure, they are much the most interesting people in this planet Earth. Their character and their history, their customs and their religions confront you with riddles at every turn. Riddles which are trifle more perplexing after they are explained than they were before. As for spirituality, it makes our religious enthusiasm seem pale and cold. This is taken information from Mark Twain, enduring fascination with various ways that humankind deal with death and burial was amply filled in Banaras, Varanasi. He attended cremation ceremonies for hours on end, watching, stretching his mind to take it all in as had earlier at the Parsi Towers of Silence. He later wrote, "We are drifting slowly but hopefully toward cremation these days. It could not be expected that this progress should be swift, but if it be steady and continuous, even if slow, that will suffice. When cremation becomes the rule, we shall cease to shudder at it. We should shudder at burial if we allowed ourselves to that what goes on in the grave." Mark Twain wrote about India in his revealing 712-page book, Following the Equators, that is India. Will Durant writes, the American historian, "India was the motherland of our race, and Sanskrit the mother of Europe's languages. She was the mother of our philosophy, mother of much of our mathematics, mother through the Buddha of the ideal embodied in Christianity, mother through the village community of self-government and democracy. Mother India is in many ways the mother of us all." Will Durant, an American historian, philosopher, and educator, he won recognition in 1926 for his The Story of Philosophy, and later worked on the major historical series, The Story of Civilization, in 1925. Mr. Ernest Wood, an English scholar, in his famous book entitled An Englishman Defends Mother India, has stated as follows on the subject: "We are dealing with, in the eyes of Hindus, there is but one God. This was stated long ago in the Rig Veda in the following words. The sages named the one being variously." Arnold Toynbee, in an address delivered at Edinburgh University in 1952, Arnold Toynbee predicted that in 50 years the world would be under the hegemony of the United States, but that in the 21st century, as religions captures the place of technology, it is possible that India, the conquered, will conquer the conquerors. That is a wonderful statement, and that is happening right now. That is exactly what I've been appointed for this work. So Max Muller, though he had spoken some of the things which were negative in the beginning, but at the time when he was on a deathbed, he finally realized, this German man, that he had done some of the bad things for misleading the science of Vedas into more darkness. But finally he realized, and this is what Max Muller, German philosopher, spoke. And please note, this is very valuable information I'm providing. "If I were to look over the whole world to find out the country most richly endowed with all the wealth, power, beauty that nature can bestow. In some parts, a very paradise on earth. I should point to India. If I were asked under what sky the human mind has most fully developed, the choicest gifts, has most deeply pondered on the greatest problems of life, and has found solution of some of them, which will deserve the attention even of those who have studied Plato and Kant, I should point to India. And if I were to ask myself from what literature we were in Europe, we who have been nurtured almost exclusively on the thought of the Greeks and Romans and of one Semitic race, the Jewish, may draw that corrective which is most wanted in order to make our inner life more perfect, more comprehensive, more universal, in fact, more truly human, a life not for this life only, but a transfigured and eternal life. Again, I should point to India. That's so beautiful, he spoke, finally. He come to realize, after all, he turned human. Mrs. Wheeler Wilcox, an eminent American lady, this is very important for you to know that how great the sciences of India and technology were experimented at the University of Oxford, where they call it Oriental Studies. In around 1856, many Brahmins gave these British boys these books, and they took it. They even made airplanes and atomic sciences out of that. Even this Mrs. Wheeler Wilcox, an American eminent lady, we have all heard and read about the ancient religions of India. It is the land of the great Veda, the most remarkable works containing not only religious ideals for the perfect life, but also facts which all science has since proved. True electricity, radium, electrons, airships, all seems to be known to the seers who found the Vedas. Foundation of airplane, ancient Indian Vimanas, airplanes, not a myth. Dr. Roberto Pinotti, an Italian scientist, told the World Space Conference at Bangalore on October 11, 1988. Dr. Roberto Pinotti asked the delegates to examine in detail the Hindu texts instead of dismissing all the Vimanas, descriptions and traditions as mere faith. The importance of such studies and investigation could prove to be shocking for today's man, because the existence of flying devices beyond mythology can only be explained with a forgotten superior civilization on earth. He said, pointing that Indian heroes fought in the skies using piloted vehicles with terrible weapons. Dr. Pinotti said these descriptions were similar to modern jet propellers, flying machines. He said certain description of the Vimanas seems too detailed and technical in nature to be labeled as myth. He cited various texts to show there were 32 secrets relating to the operation of Vimanas, some of which could be compared to modern day use of radar, solar energy, and photography. Quoting from the Vamanika, Sastra. He said the ancient flying devices of India were made from special heat-absorbing metals named somaka, sound like, and mortvika. He said the text also discussed the 7 kinds of mirror and lenses installed abroad for different and offensive uses. The so-called pendula mirror offered a sort of visual shield, preventing the pilots from being blinded by evil rays, and the weapons marika used to shoot enemy aircraft does not seem too different from what we totally call laser technology. He said, according to the Italian experts, the principles of propulsion, as far as the text descriptions were concerned, might be defined as electrical and chemical, but solar energy was also involved. For instance, the Trigura Vimana mentioned in Vamanika Shastra was a large craft operated by motive power generated by solar rays. Dr. Pinotti said, adding its elongated form was surely such closer to that of a modern blimp. According to Dr. Pinotti, the huge Sakuna Vimana described in the text might be defined as a cross between a plane and rocket of our time, and its design might remind of today's space shuttle. Surely it expresses the most complex and sophisticated aeronautical design among all the other descriptions of Vimans mentioned in the Vaimanika Shastras. He said he treatise Vaimanika Shastra as a man attempting to explain advanced technology. Dr. Pinotti, who has made an exhaustive study of the history of Indian astronautics, said another text, Samarangana Sutradhar, has 230 stanzas developed to the principles of building Vimanas and their use in space and war. He said ancient Aryans knew the use of the element fire, as could be seen from their astra weapons that included sophosmara, a flammable bleaching missile, prasvapana, which caused sleep, and 4 kinds of agnistras that travel in shields of flame and produce thunder. He said the car that was supposed to go to Surya Mandal solar system cannot be dismissed as a myth because of the technical nature of his description. Dr. Pinotti said description of the space travel, total destruction by incredibly weapons, and the fact that Vimanas resemble modern unidentified flying objects would suggest that India had a superior but forgotten civilization. In the light of this, we think it will be better to examine the Hindu text and subject the descriptive models of Vimanas to modern scientific scrutinies. He said published in Hindu, and this is published in Hindustan Times newspaper, October 12, 1988. Please note that the Germans were lucky to receive the Vedas through Max Muller, from where they derive all the top secrets of manufacturing airplanes and atomic powers. So this will conclude for my today's Mother India topic, and we will just do a little bit puja and we are through. Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Hari Om 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 Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Shri Krishna Hari Om